A lot of business has been done this summer across clubs in Europe, and while most of them were done to solve some real issues in the squad, a lot of them have now inadvertently created new problems of selections. Some would say it is a good problem for a coach to have, but it is a problem nonetheless. And today, we want to talk about the transfers which will be having that effect on their clubs in this new season. These are 10 summer signings that will create big selection headaches in their new teams. Let's start with Rodri. He just recently signed for Barcelona, and that is obviously a big addition to the team. The World Cup and Ballon d'Or winning midfielder will definitely make the team so much better, but he's also going to create a big selection headache for Hansi Flick. As we already know, Flick loves to use 2 deep midfielders and an attacking midfielder. So, with Olmo and Firmin rotating for the number 10 spot, the coach will now have about 5 players battling for just 2 positions. That will be Pedri, Frenkie de Jong, Gavi, Bernal, and now Rodri. Now, that is a massive headache to have. The headache sort of intensifies when you look at the Spain national team and how Rodri and Pedri have not always played so great together. If things continue like that at club level, Flick might be forced to drop one of them to the bench, and that would be a really huge thing. Obviously, the fans are super happy about this particular signing, and for good reason too, but Rodri could really complicate things this season. And he is not even the only new signing who will be creating a big headache for Flick in this new campaign. Do you know who else will be doing that? Take a guess in the comments, we'll see if you're right soon. While you're there, if you aren't yet subscribed to the channel, go do that right away so you never miss out on our amazing content. Done? Okay, back to the video. Let us talk about Ezri Konsa. With Saliba supposed to miss a good portion of the first half of the season, you can understand why Arsenal signed Konsa, but when everyone is fit, he will surely give Arteta a big selection headache. They'll now have 4 centre-backs and 3 right-back options, which might be a good problem to have, but will be a problem nonetheless. You see how Lewis Skelly had to take the back seat last season? Expect that to happen to someone else this season. The Carlos Baleba move to Man United could also create real headaches. Obviously, with Casemiro gone and Ugarte out of the club's plans, they needed to sign new midfielders, and they went and got them, bringing in Yuri Tielemans and Andre Santos. But now adding Baleba to the fold creates some real headaches. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes will always start, so that means that they now have Tielemans, Santos, Kobbie Mainoo, Mason Mount and Baleba all fighting for 2 positions. We saw how selection headaches like this created some real trouble with Mainoo and the club under Amorim. We might really see a repeat of that this season if Michael Carrick isn't careful. But not all headaches are created by multiple players. Sometimes 2 big players are enough to create the biggest headache, and that's what we're going to be seeing at Real Madrid this season, specifically in the right-back position. Of course, they just added Denzel Dumfries to the fold this summer, and we believe that that transfer will create a massive headache this season. Trent Alexander-Arnold and Dumfries are 2 big players who expect to start week in, week out, and it's now going to be left to the coach to decide who gets that starting spot. Obviously, it'll be down to the style of the play the coach prefers and what he wants out of his fullback, but in the end, it'll be tough deciding who the main man should be between these 2, and whoever gets relegated to the bench will certainly not be very happy. Now remember, we said that there is another Barcelona signing in this video. It's actually a duo, Anthony Gordon and Karim Adeyemi. Obviously, Barcelona fans are excited that they now have good depth in attack, but those 2 signings could create huge selection headaches. As of now, there seems to be a vacant position down the middle, but we expect Barcelona to sign 1 or even 2 strikers before the window closes, so it'll then be a battle of who gets to start on the wings. Obviously, Lamine Yamal is untouchable on the right, so we might have Rafinha, Gordon and Adeyemi fighting for the left wing. With what Rafinha has done at Barcelona, you expect that he'd start, but we also don't think that the club spent 80 million euros on Gordon just to keep him on the bench, so we're not so sure what we're going to be seeing there. Well, time will tell. Time will also tell what happens on Real Madrid's right wing as regards selection. Yan Diomande's signing has just created something of a headache in that position. We believe that Mourinho will start the season with a front 3 of Vini, Mbappe and Diomande, but what happens when Rodrigo comes back from his injury? The Brazilian has some qualities that are hard to ignore, so we believe that it won't be so straightforward. Obviously, after the amount of money that was spent on Diomande, he is expected to start, but looking at how technically gifted Rodrigo is, he might be giving Mourinho a bit of a selection headache on the right wing. Moving on, Man City's signing of Ayoub Bouadi could give Enzo Maresca a bit of a headache. Even with Rodri, Reinders and Bernardo Silva gone, There are still quite a lot of midfielders available to him at the club. He's likely going to use a 10, which will be between Foden and Cherki, so that leaves 4 people to fight for 2 positions in the midfield. He'll have Elliot Anderson, Nico Gonzalez, Kovacic and Boadi all fighting for 2 positions. And this is not factoring in the likes of Echeverri and Rico Lewis, who we fully expect to be nothing more than backup players. However, looking at the midfield performance we saw from City in the Community Shield game against Arsenal, this feels like a really good problem for Maresca to have going into the season. Still on the topic of Man City, one of their legends left the club this summer and moved to Inter Milan, and we expect that he will now be creating a massive selection headache over there. Of course, we're talking about John Stones. Inter Milan already had Bastoni, Bissek, Akanji and Pavard as centre-back options. Adding Stones to the fold means that they now have 5 top centre-backs battling for 3 positions. Obviously, we know that having this much depth is great for a big club with big ambitions, but these are all top guys, and deciding which 2 to consistently leave on the bench will be quite a massive headache, for sure. Let us now move over to Liverpool. They signed Victor Munoz this summer, and that will surely create a massive selection headache for Iraola. Worse still, because they look set to add Bradley Barcola to the fold. These are 2 left wingers, and don't forget that Rion Gumoha, Cody Gakpo and Federico Chiesa are all at the club too. Admittedly, Gakpo might still leave, but reports say that if he does, Liverpool will go for another winger on top of Barcola, so that headache will still persist. Let's now say that Barcola is being brought in to be used on the right as the Salah replacement, and Harvey Elliott acts as a backup to him on that wing. The coach will still be left to choose between Munoz, Rio, Chiesa and the new signing on the left. It surely will not be an easy decision for him to make. Another Premier League club that will be experiencing something similar is Spurs. The Mateus Fernandes signing is set to give De Zerbi serious selection headaches. Let's say that Sandro Tonali slots right in as the direct replacement for Bruno Guimaraes. The Fernandes signing is the one that tips things over. Spurs already have Bentancur, Pape Matar, Archie Gray and Gallagher. They have now added Tonali and Mateus Fernandes to that already packed midfield. Crazy. Mind you, all 6 of those players will be battling for just 2 spots, as we expect De Zerbi to play with a number 10, which is another position where fierce competition exists, with Xavi Simons, Maddison and Kulusevski all battling for that one position. Considering the injury woes Spurs suffered in recent seasons and how much that hurt them, you can understand why they feel the need for this abundance. However, if 90% of the midfield players stay fit this season, the coach will be having a massive selection headache at the centre of the park. Anyway, it is now time to hear from you guys. Are there more summer signings that will be creating selection headaches at their new clubs? Drop their names in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the bell notification so you never miss out on new content. Catch you in the next one. Bye.